Hey guys, do you know that Captain Homeland, the leader of the Seven in the Boys, is one of the most fascinating and complex characters in the series? But do you know what really makes him so dangerous? It's because he wasn't created to be a hero, but to look like a hero. And that changes everything. In today's video, we will find out how Vought created Captain Homeland, how he became the leader of the Seven, and what are the darkest secrets behind his creation. Get ready for a journey full of surprises and revelations. To start, you already know the drill. Comment below if you've watched all seasons of The Boys and the first season of Gen V. I love chatting with you guys. Send me those comments, okay? Moving on. Captain Homeland is without a doubt one of the most fascinating characters in The Boys. He's a direct homage to Superman with all the powers of the Man of Steel, but without his personality. He pretends to be the greatest hero in the world when in fact he's petty, arrogant, and without any scruple. In Garth Ennis's comic, the character is slightly different. He doesn't have all the limelight he received in the show, but he's crucial in some of the key events, especially those involving Billy Butcher. In this video, we're going to discuss a bit about Captain Homelander's story in the comics and his fate there. Be warned, we're going to have spoilers for the Boys comic book series. Captain Homelander makes his first appearance in issue 3 of The Boys, and his origins are similar to those of so many other Superman-inspired characters. A baby comes from space and grows up to become a benevolent savior of mankind. Except it doesn't. Although Vought sells the idea that he is a being from another planet who came to Earth to save us from ourselves, providing a typically American image, this is not the case by a long shot. Captain Homelander is 100% a byproduct of completely unethical science. To understand who he is and why he exists, you first need to understand the Vought American conglomerate. Vought is a ruthless company that values profit above all else. Even though they have a top-notch marketing division, they're always trying to save money. And this money-saving obsession over the years nearly drove them to bankruptcy due to their own inability to produce decent products. Over the years, the company became a joke until it formulated a new plan: superheroes. Vought American managed to get a hold of a drug created by a Nazi scientist that gave people superpowers named Compound V. The corporation started human trials on a pregnant woman with mental health issues. They gave the unborn baby incredibly high doses of this drug, and the baby was so powerful at birth that it killed the entire medical team involved in the delivery. The child also rapidly aged into adulthood, and during that time had to be kept hidden with a nuclear bomb nearby just to keep him under control. As you notice, that child was Captain Homeland. In the series, we have scenes where the character is forced to fabricate his story with an entire marketing campaign that shows the supposed all-American house where little John grew up. As a child, he was kept locked up and raised in a lab while receiving massive doses of Compound V. Vought gave Captain Homeland and 6 other children an absurd amount of this drug from the time they were just fetuses. Thus, they became the most powerful beings on the planet, the Seven, a team of superheroes created and controlled by Vought. Captain Homeland wasn't raised since childhood to be a hero, but to look like one. This detail makes all the difference, as Vaught's focus was only on revenue and merchandising. Even so, Captain Homeland started his superhero career trying to do a good job, but without any training and a complete lack of moral compass. This led him and the set to make tragedies much worse than they would normally be. The main event that shows this in the comics happens during the September 11th, 2001 attack, when the Air Force has a chance to shoot down the second plane that was trying to fly into the World Trade Center. Instead, Vought interferes and uses the Vice President to order the plane to be intercepted by the set instead of the Air Force. The set ends up failing miserably, and this starts as soon as they board the plane, when Captain Homeland opens the door and a child is sucked out. After that, everything starts to go wrong. He gets angry and simply abandons the mission. Even so, there is still an attempt to land the plane, but Captain Homelander has no control over his strength and splits the plane in half, causing it to crash into the Brooklyn Bridge. And that's what Captain Homelander does when he's trying to do a good job. So imagine what it's like when he really wants to be bad. In the comic book, there comes a point where Captain Homelander begins to lose his grip on reality. He is blackmailed by an anonymous source with photos of him performing terrible acts. But what scares him the most is that he has no memory of it. One crime he particularly does not remember is that of having committed violence against Billy Butcher's wife, the main catalyst for the character's hatred against supers. By the way, it's worth mentioning here that Becca, Billy's wife, really did die giving birth to the superpowered baby as a result of the violence. And that plot of her living with young Ryan in the Prime Video series doesn't exist in the comics. Losing control of situations and no longer sure of his own actions, Captain Homelander slowly spirals into madness, transforming into a total megalomaniac. In his final act, he decides to stage a coup d'etat by convincing the other Supes to storm the White House. They think they're doing it for the vote, but it's actually Captain Homelander's own plan to rule the world. After all, he decides he can do whatever he wants. Captain Homelander kills the President of the United States, and Billy Butcher meets him in the Oval Office for a decisive showdown between the two. It's at this point that we find out that the other member of the Seven, Black Noir, was actually a clone of Captain Homelander and responsible for most of the horrible things Homelander thought he had done. This information makes him totally freak out because he thinks he could have been a true hero if he wasn't manipulated into believing he was evil. Captain Homeland fights Black Noir but ends up being killed in the process, not without leaving Black Noir severely damaged first. Damaged enough that Billy Butcher manages to kill him, finally getting his revenge for his wife's death. Considering how the Amazon TV series has been carving its own path and trying different things from the comic book, it's highly probable that Captain Homeland's ending will be quite distinct. But we hope to see him invade the White House. It could be a different way to reach the same outcome. The variations introduced by the series, by the way, make everything even more interesting because the adaptation manages to surprise even the viewer who is familiar with the original work. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. I would love to discuss the video's topics. If you liked the video, please like, share and subscribe. Suggestions for the next videos are appearing up here now. It makes perfect sense for you to watch them. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.